Monica with the Stop Mandated Shunning Project. In August of 2024, I put up a billboard about being a survivor of faith-based mandated shunning. This billboard was up for 4 months in the little hometown of Hayward, Wisconsin, where I spent the first 18 years of my life. Some friends of mine reposted photos of my billboard and it went viral, and ever since then I've been getting a lot of questions from people who want to put up a billboard themselves.
In this video, I'll talk to you about cost, finding a billboard company, good location and placement, the type of design and message I recommend, the results you can expect, and the potential for legal issues and pushback by groups that shun and don't want the bad publicity.
First of all, cost. Obviously, cost will vary greatly depending on the location and how densely populated the area is. In my case, it cost $450 for the production and $600 per month afterwards. So the first month was about $1,000, and I kept my billboard up for 4 months, which totaled $2,800. A nice little side note is that if no one else buys the space after you're done with it, your billboard will stay up until someone else does. As far as companies go, that would depend on your country. You can just Google billboard companies in your area. There are several in the United States. The company I went with is LAMAR, and they have locations all over the United States and quite a few locations in Canada as well. The location of your billboard is critical. You could potentially put it up and not get any impact whatsoever. It worked well for me to put a billboard up in my hometown. It's a very small population. I grew up there, went all the way through school there, so many people knew me and know my last name, and I have lots of family in the area. There was also a local Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall in that little town, and lots of people work with Jehovah's Witnesses, so that was another reason my billboard had a big impact. Some groups that practice shunning have a central location or a headquarters. That would be a good place for a billboard placement. Or if this group has outreach centers or somewhere where they interface with outsiders and the general public, if they do a lot of business with outsiders, that would also be a good location for a billboard. Most companies will help you out with designing a billboard, but you'll probably have to do some of the work on your own as well. I took and sent my own photo and I came up with my own message, but LAMAR did help me with the overall design. You'll want a message that is simple and easy to read because someone's going to be whizzing by in a car probably when they see it. Please try to avoid a message that might come across as angry or spiteful. We want a simple and kind message that tugs on heartstrings of our loved ones and the general public. We want to raise awareness and gain sympathy and understanding for the degree to which people suffer from mandated shunning. Be aware that there might be potential legal issues or pushback from the group itself because obviously they don't want people drawing attention to their practice of mandated shunning. In my case, I had to run my billboard past the legal team. This is standard practice, and they just told me that I had to have a little line at the bottom stating my name and contact information and that I was paying for this billboard myself. Similar to a political ad, they would require the same thing. It's not a big deal. You might want to get a separate phone number if you don't want to give out your phone number. Also, you might get some pushback from the group and they might intimidate a company and try to stop them from displaying your message. That's what happened to some Scientologists when they put up a billboard about shunning. Lastly, I want to talk about the impact of putting up a billboard about mandated shunning. My motivation in putting up this billboard was simple. I had no other way to reach my loved ones. Shunning among Jehovah's Witnesses is mandatory and extreme, and there is simply no other way for me to contact people from my former community. In the eyes of current Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't exist. I have no value, I have no feelings, and I felt such a need to have my voice heard that I was willing to pay nearly $3,000 to put up a billboard. And it was very satisfying because I know that I did reach them. My voice did reach them. My billboard went up with my actual phone number on it, which I was a little nervous about, but it turned out to be a wonderful thing because local people who were being shunned, many that I had known from my childhood, contacted me through that number. They told me how much they appreciated the message on the billboard and they hoped their family would read it and think of them. I've developed several friendships just because of this billboard.
Heath saw my billboard on social media and messaged me. We discovered we know several people in common, including his brother.
He shared his difficult story of being shunned for 20 years by his parents and sibling, who now live in Hayward and attend religious services with my family. After 5 suicide attempts, he's determined to stop grieving and start living. He now fills his life with world travel, true friends, and cultural diversity. I hadn't spoken to Chris in over 20 years when he contacted me. Our fathers are friends, and we reminisced about our childhood. He knows he's fortunate that he never got baptized as a child, which allows his father the loophole of not having to shun him completely. He sent me old photos of our families canoeing together. It was surprisingly healing for me to receive pictures of the family who is shunning me. My childhood friend Anne and I used to ride the same school bus. My mom would pick up her family for meetings at the local Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. I was shocked to find out that she had been kicked out of her parents' home and shunned when she became pregnant at age 18. She spent 4 months sleeping at a public boat landing while in a late stage of pregnancy. Several older people in their 60s and 70s contacted me asking to remain anonymous. They must hide their disagreement with JW teachings for fear of losing relationships with family and lifelong friends. They feel isolated, but I keep in touch with some of them on a weekly or nearly daily basis. I have family members who were expelled from the JW religion and the family decades ago. When I left, I reconnected with my cousin after 25 years of silence, and with my aunt, with whom I hadn't spoken in 40 years since I was a young child of around 6. There are also extended family members with whom I'd had only limited contact due to the intolerant belief structure I'd been raised in. By putting up this billboard, I signaled to my relatives that I had made a genuine, heartfelt change. I publicly took my stand with them and spoke out against abuse. This helped me gain their forgiveness, trust, and respect. I also was able to connect with quite a few people that I went through school with, and of course I was not allowed to have a friendship with them while I was going through school. I was able to reconnect with these people that I had known all my life and start building a relationship with them. One of the coolest things was that a former high school teacher contacted me and told me that her church had prayed for me when my billboard went up. And that was very meaningful because I have suffered religious trauma, but it was so beautiful to hear that religion can also be used in a positive way to reaffirm freedom of belief and reaffirm basic human rights and human decency. I also got word from an insider from a local congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses that all of the congregations in the area were very aware of my billboard, and it was problematic PR for them, and the leaders, the pastors, were wondering how to address it. Shunning is something that most Jehovah's Witnesses are not going to admit to. They're going to try to hide it when they talk to the public, and they don't want to be asked questions about it. So I know that my billboard would have led to some very embarrassing and uncomfortable conversations between my family and friends and the local community. Putting up a billboard is a big deal, and people are going to be interested. Be sure to advertise it on social media, talk to your local newspaper and local TV station. Very likely someone will want to interview you for their podcast or YouTube channel. I was so grateful to be invited to tell the story of my billboard on one of my favorite YouTube channels. I also had a good experience going to Oslo, Norway for a major court case involving faith-based shunning. A local journalist interviewed me along with other victims who traveled there for the trial, and a photo of my billboard ended up in a newspaper in Norway. The initial article put the cost of the billboard at $30,000 instead of $3,000, but that got rectified quickly. I recently found out that a couple who left Scientology had thought about putting up a billboard long before me. In 2016, they put up a billboard in Los Angeles, California, to try to reconnect with their children and to draw attention to the problem of mandated shunning among Scientologists.
The parents who were Scientologists for years putting up this huge billboard, desperately trying to reach their grown children who stayed in the church after they left.
That one stands out with its 2 bold words, "Call me." Now, those former Scientologists say they haven't seen their kids in over 2 years, and that is their last-ditch attempt to reconnect.
It's a desperate plea, writ 3 stories high and 50 feet across.
We didn't know what else to do, so we figured we better make some statement.
It has been hard. I can't tell you how many times we've cried about it.
The Jones say they're out of the Church of Scientology after 4 decades, but say their children are still in it.
Yeah, our daughter got married last year, and we weren't told. We don't know when exactly she got married.
Your daughter's 38 and your son is 42.
Right.
There are
They're
kids.
adults and have free will and could reach out to their parents if they so chose.
Right. You would think that, but that's not necessarily the case in Scientology.
Our whole message is not about their beliefs. It's just about reconnecting families
Right.
and ending the disconnection, which is an abuse of families, we believe.
They say they have little to hold on to and fear retribution from the church, but add what they fear more is losing their children forever.
I don't know if the billboard is going to do anything, but it's another step. These are our kids. We want them in our lives.
I hope this video answers most questions you might have about putting up your own shunning billboard, but if you have any additional questions, please state them in the comments below. Mandated shunning is a human rights abuse that is hiding in plain sight, and it's gone under the radar for way too long. I hope that many people will put up their own billboards to draw attention to this devastating practice.